Jared Polin from Photo.com. And this is RAWtalk episode number 170. The time, 9:59 in the PM in Osaka, Japan. Because that's where I am right now. Steven's at home. He's just getting acclimated after a couple of days off after being in Japan for a week. And we made the decision that Jared, me, is going to fly solo today because Steven has other editing to catch up on now that he's back. There's certain videos we want to get out and get done that have been in the can since before we left, because there was a lot of stuff to get done before we left. There was all of those cinema videos. There's a bunch of Sigma lenses that we haven't gotten done yet, the reviews for. And so Steven needs to catch up on that, and that will just save him time by me doing this. Plus, the lag over the internet for us to talk to each other is really bad, and it makes the episode much harder to do. So I hope you guys understand that. Bear with us, just like I did Photo News Fix this time around by myself. Out of the studio with not a perfect setup, which I'll do better next time. As long as it sounds good, it's really all I care about. So to catch you up real fast, I'm still in Japan. Steven went home last week. He went home on Saturday. I moved on to the next place. I think the first place I went was Kanazawa. Never heard of it before, but it was very nice. Anyway, where I wanted to start this episode is I'm ready to go home. It's a long time to be away from me. I didn't really feel it till I got to Osaka, and Osaka just pissed me off right off the bat, just because it's so fucking busy. There's so many people here in Osaka, and it's not that I can deal with a lot of people. It's more so that there's like 14 layers underground, and trying to get to where I needed to go to my hotel. My travel person, my travel agent, my tour guide, she wasn't with me for this, but she was just like, oh, yeah, the train station, the subway line is connected right to your hotel. Well, yeah, there's 3 basements. There's like B1, B2, B3 in these buildings. There's like, it's like every building is a mall, and you could be right on top of where you need to be, except you're above it. Like right on top of it. And then you can't find your way downstairs. Then you can't find your way across the street. Then you end up going the wrong way. I went in a fucking circle 5 times trying to find the same thing, and I failed. So it really pissed me off right off the bat. So much so that I found a Shake Shack, walked in a circle because I went the wrong way, and then I ended up in a circle, and then I got French fries. And then I was happy, Jared, because I really just wanted to eat French fries, because I've been eating, everything's pretty much good and healthy here. And I just think I'm tired of the, sushi. And, how people, they always go, sushi, Japan's going to ruin you for sushi. I'm like, no, it's not. I eat it mori fucking moto. And I will say that Jesse Ito's place called Royal Izakaya definitely is on par with the high-end Japanese restaurants when it comes to serving sushi and omakase. So no, it doesn't fucking ruin you, especially if you eat at a shitty sushi place. We did that one night. It wasn't shitty. It was fine. But then, and that was in a group with Canon. They picked a place and a bunch of us went out, and it was fine. It was like your run-of-the-mill local sushi place. It wasn't Morimoto. It wasn't Royal Izakaya style. But I will say that in Kanazawa, I believe it was Kanazawa, my tour guide was showing me around one of these side streets where people live, kind of very similar to like Fishtown where I'm at. And she's like, oh, this very famous sushi restaurant. I almost broke into, this very famous sushi restaurant. Oh, really? That's the South Park. Oh, you've heard on South Park where they're like, oh, really? Well, yes, I've heard that a bunch here too. Oh, and then I'll get back to the sushi in a second. And then the one video I did on Instagram, which I hope you're following, from Kyoto, is the guy singing Oasis, who clearly doesn't know English. And he had me rolling on the ground because it was absolutely hilarious in a good way, like not in a poking fun way, because I can't speak Japanese. So the guy mimicking English to the best of his ability to sing Oasis is more than I could ever do in Japanese, because all I have is, oh, really? That's all I got. Like, I don't got it. Like, that's not good, and someone's going to be offended. But it was fucking hilarious listening to the guy sing Oasis. Anyway, my tour guide, we were out in front of, it was 4:30. We were out in front of she's like, very famous sushi restaurant. And she's like, you want to go? She's like, they're never available. And this was like a Friday night or this was Saturday night. So she called right from outside and they said they could take us at 5. And so we ate there at 5. Very good omakase. I really enjoyed it. The squid was fantastic. I ate the eel. I ate everything that they put in front of me. I generally don't like eel here. I don't like when I say here in Philly, I don't like the flavor that they do in the eel rolls. But the eel here was like a fillet, and so that was fine. My favorite part, the favorite dish in the omakase was early on. It was like the third dish, and it was these mushrooms. They were fucking incredible. Anyway, so we did that. The 2 people sitting next, there's like 10 seats in there, and there were only 2 other people at 5 o'clock with us, and they so happened to be from New York. Well, one was from like, I don't know, somewhere in France, and his boyfriend or husband or whatever they are works in New York. And so they live in New York, but they also talked about going to Fishtown. So I was just giving them recommendations for restaurants, and they could obviously call me when they come to town and I can help direct them where to eat. So anyway, that was a long way to get around to a couple of quick observations today. One, the guy I was down there in the Suntory. No, I was down there in the lounge just hanging out, and the one guy, a group of like 5 Japanese guys, and the one guy's just sitting there the whole time going, I mean, obviously it's like, it could be Tourette's or something, and they're probably used to it, but I'm just sitting over there and all I hear is, anyway, that's not the observation I wanted to make, but that was an observation. Okay, quick observation number 1. They all stand on the proper side of the escalator, for fuck's sake. So everybody lines up to the right, and they get on the escalator to the right in a nice even row. So you know what that does? That leaves the left available for anybody that wants to pass, which I choose to do, taking 2 steps at a time, saying, "Oh, really? Excuse me." And I get out of the... No, I don't say that. I've been using my Translate app quite a bit, so that if people don't understand me, well, I don't understand them and they don't understand me. So I break out the Translate app. They talk into the app. I then type back in and we have a conversation. It's actually pretty cool. It works extremely well. I was told by a couple of readers, because I thought that I needed to have the latest iPhone and new AirPod Pro 3s to do the live translate in my ears. But no, you just need iOS 26, because they're doing it by the years. iOS 26 on the phone, but that came out after I left Philly. And so I did not feel confident in downloading and trying to install a new iOS while on the road, because if something happens, I'm fucking screwed. So I will save that for when I get home. I don't know where I was going with that. Where was I going? Oh, the live translate. I don't know. Jared, I don't know where I was going. Anyway, they all stand to the proper side of the escalator, which is awesome. Let's see. I bought some of that chocolate again at 7-Eleven. Oh, this is a story I was going to tell Steven in case we did the show together. So there was these chocolate things. I don't know what they're called because it's in Japanese. I don't know what it is. And we got it with Canon, and they're like, it's like chocolate, and then there's some crunchies inside, and it's really freaking tasty. So I didn't eat it tonight, but I did buy some. And it was 129 yen, which is not very much in the way of yen. So I put my yen coins in there. I put in 100 coin and 3 I call them dimes. I don't know. They're worth 10 yen. I put it in the machine, and that spit out 1 yen into the dish. But I left the 1 yen in the dish because I'm like, it's 1 yen. Let's pay it forward, right? In case someone needs 1 yen. So I'm standing outside, like 30 seconds later, I'm in, outside of the 7-Eleven, and the guy taps me on the shoulder and goes, "Thank you, come again." No, he didn't say that. The guy taps me on the shoulder and he hands me the 1 yen. He didn't speak English and I didn't speak Japanese, but I tried to explain to him, like, I'm paying it forward. He just handed it to me and went back in and smiled, which was funny. But the moral of the story is 1 yen coin is worth 1/10 of 1 penny US. So I wasn't worried about leaving the 1 yen coin in there. But obviously, they just wanted to make sure I had it. They're a very helpful society. I think I saw my first, I hate the term unhoused. And I don't know if the person is homeless. I have no idea. I haven't seen any in Tokyo. I haven't seen any anywhere I've been until Osaka. There was someone sitting on an overpass with a open thing looking for some money. But that was the first time that I actually saw something along the lines of that, because everybody's here to help. The elderly, everybody helps. I mean, every sidewalk has these bumps and these troughs for blind people, so that they can walk and they can slide their stick in the blind people hole and they can just walk all over the place and get to where they need to go. Because the city doesn't sit there and say, well, there's not that many blind people, so fuck them. We'll just only do this for able-bodied people or whatever. And so blind people, fuck them. They can't go where they want to go. Here, they can go where they want to go. And people would probably be very helpful. In the taxis, they stop and let people walk through the lanes, the walkways without honking them or saying, I'm walking here. None of that. I heard one horn honk since I've been here. That's pretty crazy. Oh, and they also have like more patience than we do. And they're very nice to each other, especially in the Ubers. It's just everybody's jovial and laughing and they have good conversations. Someone's got to be an asshole, right? Someone's got to be an asshole. I'll be that asshole. I haven't been an asshole at all. I was a little snippety to myself today because I'm tired, because I got up at 5:21 a.m. to go out and photograph one of the torii gates in not Hiroshima, Maezawa. I don't know what it's called. It's by Hiroshima. It was a 45-minute boat ride thing to get there, and there's like some deer on the island, and there's a big torii gate there in the water. It's like the famous one. I honestly had no idea I was going to see that. I've seen a picture of it before, but I didn't know that it was actually on the list to go do. I'm not very good at planning these things. That's why I hired someone to do it, because they know what they're doing, and it makes it much easier to have someone just put the list together, and then I can complain about it later when I'm on it. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to go there, which I really haven't done. I've only modified. Okay, I know I'm skipping ahead because I'm supposed to be doing a couple of quick observations, but my tour guide, she's very good. Her name's Yumi. She has a company here, and I will promote it when it's time. I'll send a link if anybody ever wants to know. You could just leave a comment. I'll just get you her information. She's been great. Put together an awesome trip. I heard she's famous in Japan for what she does. Because my other tour guide that she also hired in Hiroshima, Hiroki, Hiroshi, I think it's Hiroshi, not Hiroki. That's the sushi place at home, is Hiroki. Hiroshi, he is awesome. The guy's 70. You wouldn't think that he was over 55. And he used to run Iron. He's done 6 Ironmen, I believe he said that he has done. So pretty damn crazy. I just forgot what I was going to talk about. What the hell was I talking about? Jared, what was I talking about? Guys, I'm tired. I don't remember what I was talking about. I can't do it. I'm sorry. A quick observation. Let's get back to this. They always want to give me a goddamn receipt for everything. The thing is already a receipt enough. That's an old joke from Mitch Hedberg. He buys a donut. He goes in, he buys a donut, and they go, would you like a receipt? And he goes, the donut is receipt enough. Funny as shit. If you never heard of Mitch Hedberg, he died. He dead. Heroin overdose. But comedy is funny as fuck. Go listen to it, because it is funny as fuck to listen to him. Just super funny. So definitely check that out. But I got tired of getting receipts. Oh, I think where I was going with that with my with Yumi is she wanted to walk everywhere. And I have no problem walking. Like, if we're walking through a town, we're walking past monuments, we're walking past stuff, cool. I'll walk 10, 15 minutes. Whatever, I'll walk 20 minutes. I'll walk 4 hours through a city if we're hitting all the waypoints. But when it comes to like being slightly off the beaten path and we're just walking to get somewhere, and it's not walking to get somewhere but observing stuff along the way, I was like, Yumi, I'm like, if it's over 10 minutes or 15 minutes walk, we're taking it. I'm calling an Uber. I'm making it happen because like I'd rather have more time at somewhere else than not chew up our time walking. And it's not a lazy thing. It's just I wanted to fucking get somewhere quicker. So I explained that to her. I'm like, Yumi, I'm like, I'm calling an Uber. It's 20 minutes. No, we're not walking 20 minutes. Now, when I wanted to walk to lunch and it was 15, 16 minutes, that's different because we were walking through neighborhoods and we were checking shit out along the way, but not just to go from point A to point B. So that's one thing. Another quick observation is when you're on an elevator and you hit the closed door button, guess what it does? Closes the damn door right away. Now, when we have a closed door button here, and when I say here, I mean in the United States, you like hit it and then it waits and it waits and it waits, probably because they know people would be assholes and really just keep closing it on everybody and be like, oh, really? And then they get very upset. So that's it. Also, another quick observation. When people sneeze, no one says, God bless you. Because I don't know if they believe in that. Do you know that I think there's like 3,000 gods? They have a god for everything. They have a god for like sleeping good and a god, and not making fun. There's a lot of deities that they have. I'm learning a lot while I'm here. So anyway, I've been on my own for almost a week, as I said, and I'm chugging along and I'm ready to go home. Oh, it was funny on the train to Kanazawa, the first time I'm out on myself, I had a quick conversation with, via my app, Google Translate with the guy next to me, which was pretty cool. And then when he got off with his family at one of the stops, another guy, and this is reserved seating in the bullet trains, which are awesome to get from point A. I went 84 miles or 86 miles and it only took like 32 minutes on a bullet train. That's the same distance from Philly to New York, and that would take an hour and 20 fucking minutes. And I get it. Like, Japan has straight rails, and they build it out because they could, and we don't have the ability to do that in the United States. But you could from the Everglades, through the Everglades, right? From Tampa to Orlando or whatever through the Alligator Alley. Just build a fucking high-speed line there. Instead of 4 hours, it could be like a 4-hour drive. It could be like an hour and 20-minute bullet train at 150, 60 miles an hour. But no, we can't do that. Whatever. So anyway, this guy sits down next to me. He's clearly drunk. He pops a can of sake. Now, the entire lid of the can comes off, and I'm like, wow, that's a whole can of sake right there. And I'm just looking. He drinks it in a matter of minutes. Then he pulls out a can of beer. And then he pulls out these dried fish snacks. I know it's dried fish because it smelled like fucking fish. And he told me that he asked where I'm from, in a very broken English. And then he said that it was a Saturday, so he was drinking, and he's an archaeologist. And then he passed out, which was kind of funny. And then he waddled off. When at every stop they have a different chime on the train. They have a different chime. Like someone we were with said, "Up, the dryer's done," but no, there's a different sound for each city. So I guess you recognize, or train stop you, so you recognize where you're getting off. So that was that. In Kanazawa, a place I've never heard of, we went to a Zen museum, the Daisen something Zen museum. And what was cool is it was designed in a way where the architect did not want any symmetry. So there's a ton of straight lines. It's very mid-mod and it's amazing. And it's a Zen place. In the middle is they have like this water feature. I don't remember. I didn't talk about this last week, right? Because we did this together and I didn't do that yet. I just sat out there and it was so peaceful. It was the wind blowing through the willow trees. You have this high wall. I put up some pictures on Instagram from there. The water features making some noise, and it was just really pretty. Like, it was really peaceful. Some of the other Zen places or some different temples were definitely quiet. Another observation is there's a fuck ton of tourists, but that's totally okay. And so, yeah. Let's see. Oh, Kyoto. I did go to Kyoto by myself again and stayed right in the heart of, like, I don't know where all the streets, there's like a ton of streets. What's so crazy is you walk out of the hotel, you make like a right or left or whatever way you want to go. You find a billion different restaurants and bars and establishments. Then you see an alleyway, so you turn down the alleyway. Down the alleyway, there's another 10 establishments. Then somewhere in the alley, there's another alleyway in the alleyway. And you go down there, you're like, holy fuck, there's even more. Then you come out on another side street, and then you just make another right down the next right, and it all repeats again. You really need to know someone to tell you where to go or to go with you. Because like I wandered into a reggae club. And when I say club, we're talking like 400 square feet, smaller than my bedroom, this whole bar was. And they were smoking in there, which was fucking crazy. And there were a bunch of Israelis down there for some reason. And then you had the Japanese people doing Rastafari. Yeah, except they were doing, I think they were doing it in Japanese. I don't think they were doing it in English. I think they were doing it in Japanese, which I can't even attempt to do. So Kyoto is really interesting. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of history, obviously, all over Japan. When you have things that are 800 years old, 1200 years old, 1500 years old, you think about what we have in the United States, and the oldest stuff is in the, I know you got 1600s and something when those fuckers came over to Jonestown or whatever it was and all died. But think of the Independence Hall in Philly, 1730s built or wherever it was built. And you're like, that's some of the oldest structures we have. These guys had, there were certain temples that were destroyed by fire. And my tour guide's like about 150 years ago, and it was rebuilt. I'm like, well, that's old still too, 150 years. And then so many steps. These temples have so many steps. So in Kyoto, I was recommended to go to a restaurant, and I walked 20 minutes, didn't take a cab by myself because I just wanted to walk. I wanted to see what was in the town. And I ended up getting to the place where I needed to go, and it said, we're full for the night. I was like, what? It said, just show up. Anyway, so I opened my Google app and I type in food, and what comes up? Pho. And pho was 0.1 miles from where I was. So I get to the pho place, and there seems to be a line. I start to go up, and these blokes, well, one of them, because only one of them talked a lot, was like, oh, there's a line. We're waiting here. Turns out they're from like Northern England, three guys just graduating uni. And one of them talked a lot. The other two just sat there and nodded, which was kind of funny. And I said, I'm joining you for dinner. I didn't ask, by the way. I'm like, you need an extra? And I was like, good, you found one. Well, they didn't answer, but I was like, yeah, I'm eating with you people. So we did go upstairs. There was a table available for us, and I really love pho. Got a bowl of pho, got a bunch of spring rolls, vegetable rolls, got a bunch of the fresh rolls. They were tasty. I ended up getting 2 of everything after I got the first round because it was like so good. And then I wrote about this on Instagram. I decided to buy them dinner. Look, a bowl of pho was $6, and they're sitting there counting their money. I know this. I can tell. You can just see they're on such a budget because they're there for like a month. They've been going around. I don't know what the fuck they're doing going for a month to Japan, but they're just doing it, and they're like 21, 20 years old, 21, 22 years old. And I was just like, I got this. It was like 9,600 yen, which is like $62. So it was like $62 for me to buy them dinner. And that goes a long way. And they asked if I need anything. I'm like, no, what I always say is just pay it forward one day. One day when you can afford it, you pay for lunch for someone else. And that's what I try to instill in people when I'm going around. No, I don't try to instill anything, actually. But it was just one of those things. It's like if I feel like doing it, I do it. There's thoughts that pop into my brain all the time about buying someone dinner usually, or buying someone lunch. And I usually go with it if it pops into my head. So, yeah, that was cool. Just hanging out. And then we went to a bunch of bars with them. I went to a bunch of bars with them. And the one tall guy who just always talked a lot was like, he's like, as long as they have a highball, and I guess it's whiskey in seltzer water. I was like, oh, okay, youngin, you're young, go for it. And they're drinking beer and all that stuff. Oh man, I ended up at this interesting town called Kurosaki. I think it was Kurosaki. What a really cool, sleepy little town. really cool. I wandered into a jazz bar there, and by jazz bar, it was really small again too, but they had a jazz band playing. It was 3-piece. They had a guitar player. No, they didn't have a guitar player. They had a upright bass player. They had a drummer. Oh, there was 4-piece. A drummer. They had a saxophone for both the alto and the straight Kenny G. He had a Kenny G one and a regular one, and there was a piano player, and it was fun. I just sat there. I got bored after like an hour because I just was like, enough fucking jazz. Like, it wasn't like it was bad. It was just I had enough. And I just wandered around and walked around the town and stumbled upon a pizza place and was like, well, I haven't had any bread in a long time. And being it was Neapolitan, you can't really fuck that up that bad because it's a brick oven and you just get your dough right and you put the cheese and mozzarella on there and you put your sauce and you eat it. So I went upstairs. They were closing in 15 minutes. I placed my order. It was ready in like 5. There were 2 Germans sitting upstairs. Yeah, Germany. Yeah, we're from Germany. They didn't sound like that at all. They actually almost sounded American, but they're like, people always mistake us for Americans. I'm like, I knew you were Krauts from the time I walked into the room. And so when I was leaving, I got the idea to surprise them and buy them dinner without telling them. So I got out my Translate app again. And when I was paying, I wrote on the Translate app, I'd like to pay for the dinner for the people upstairs. And they rang it up. And hopefully, I mean, they're Japanese. I'm assuming that they didn't double ring them up after and be like, oh, we just made more money, because that guy paid and then he didn't tell them that he paid. So whatever. I just felt like doing it. It's just one of those things. I feel like doing it. I'm going to do it. And it goes back a long way. I remember there was this time I was in Canada and I was on teen tours. I'm like 14 years old and we're at a antique bazaar and there was like a Star Wars figurine in the packaging still. And I don't know how much it was, but I should have bought it and I didn't. That's one of the things where it's like, you know what? Sometimes you got to act on the thing. And I'm not saying do it in a bad way, meaning you, like, something's too overpriced and you can't afford it. But if it's something that you're like, you've always looked for, I do this when I buy properties. It's like, sometimes you just pay the price they're offering it for because you just want to get it done with. And you rather get it than lose it over $5,000. I know bigger, numbers are numbers and it's all relative for what everybody has. But it's just like what I've learned in real estate, for me at least. I know everybody's always looking for a deal. I want a deal. I want a deal. I want a deal. It's like, yeah, I just want the place that I want. And so when I find the place that I want, maybe give them exactly what they asked for. It's hard to say no, right? It's hard for someone to say no to your offer when you offer them what they asked for. And if they balk at it, fuck you, fuck them. If they go back on it. So that's a little side note. I did pick up some gifts for people. Steven took them home for me, which was nice. Canon, one of the executives at Canon has a family member that has a sake business. So they gave us bottles of sake in Japan. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this in Japan? I really don't drink. And then Steven buy a suitcase before when I left. He had to go buy a suitcase and then got it to the airport and checked it. Cause when you're flying first class, bitch, you can check up to 3 bags or something. So Steven was, he took all the stuff home. He left it at my house for me and watered the plant back at the studio so that it's not fully dead when I get back. It should be good with some water. That's actually what the guy sounded like right there. Some cool shoots that I did. My tour guide set me up to photograph a dyer. Okay, here's the thing with tour guides. When they're not used to photographers, I need to live in a space. I don't want to be there for like 5 minutes and then tell me, okay, on to the next. I need to just live in a space. I need to feel the environment. I need to not be rushed and just live it and be ready to go when I want to go. And so that's just something that you deal with when people don't understand the process, that you don't just make beautiful stuff in 3 minutes unless you're me, which I do make beautiful stuff in a matter of minutes. Case in point, there was one of the things I was doing was seeing a traditional dyer, and he dyes stuff for kimonos. And he was doing all the dying, and I was doing a photo shoot, and the photos are really cool. So I love photographing an artisan. Like today, photographing one of the Torii Gates in wherever the hell that was, something, whatever it was called. Sorry, I'm just, my brain is fucked. But I got out there before sunrise, as the sun was coming up, and it was low tide. And so we were on the other side of the gate, where if you wait another 2 hours, you would never be there because the water has already come up and you would need a boat to get onto that side. So I got there super early to do that, and there was very few people out. And then I just waited and waited and waited for the reflection to come up. I don't think I got anything good, because you really don't need to be there that early in the morning, because there was no sun, because it was raining, and I stood there with an umbrella. But you could just wait for any time to get the nice colors in the background, which is fine. But when the water fully came up and we left the beach, well, the under the water stuff before it got underwater, there was a girl walking by. I guess she was trying to take a picture. I was like, "Do you want me to take one for you?" And she's like, "Yeah." And so I used her phone to take the photos, and I was like, "Oh," she was like, "I'm like, you're posing like Instagram." She's like, "Yeah, I want to make people jealous at home." And I was like, "Okay." And then I was like, "You want me to take a real photo?" And she's like, "Nah, I'm okay." So anyway, she goes into the temple thing, and then we were going in there to take pictures. So I caught up with her, because, on the prowl. And then I was just like, we were talking, which was cool. And then I was like, "You want to get some real photos right here?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she did. She's Scottish. She's from Scotland, by the way. Really cool person. I believe she works at a tea joint, and she's into illustration, or she does illustrations or something. But anyway, good conversation. Got some cool photos of her. And the reason I bring that up is, for me, having a subject and the Torii Gate in the background out of focus is, for me, just a picture of the gate is a picture of the gate is a picture of the gate. There's only so many angles you can get and so many different things. It was cool. One of the pictures I posted on Instagram, there's a picture of me taking the pictures, a picture. It's not the exact one that I posted the final shot from, but there's a crow flying through, and that a crow is a big thing in Japan at these temples. So it was kind of cool to get it. I think the 28-70 was a little too short for what I needed. I think an 85 would have been good, and maybe even 100 millimeter, 100. I think 135 would have been too long. So a 70-200 could have been good for filling the frame I wanted, but I dealt with my 28-70, which really isn't any slouch at all. Oh God, how many people just yawned because I yawned? I'm beat to fuck. I'm looking to go to bed soon. What time is it now? It's 10:30. I wanted to go to bed. I waited because I thought Steven was going to do the podcast with me, but he's just like, the lag is going to be a problem. And why don't we just, you fly solo, and he'll keep working on the other videos, which is fine. But my tour guide, he was awesome in Hiroshima. Oh, going through Hiroshima is totally, and I don't know how to explain it. Did I have any feelings? Not really. I mean, yes, I felt bad. I really felt bad. I was like, we were talking with my tour guide. I'm like, what I don't understand, and this was another observation that I saw I'll get to, and why don't I just tell you the observation before I forget it, is we're in the museum, the Hiroshima bombing, the memory museum, and I'm reading what the Japanese said after the bombing and everything, and they didn't sit there and say the United States bombed us and post the blame on us. They didn't take ownership for what they did, which was, Pearl Harbor, which still makes no sense why they attacked. And we can get back to that in a second, but I forgot. See, this is what's happening right now is my brain is fried. So, so what they wrote was more of a plea for getting rid of nuclear weapons. And they say so that this can never happen again. They didn't sit there and say, the United States did this to us, they're evil and all of that. It's hard to wrap your head around it, because we killed a lot of Japanese, whether it was carpet bombing or it was the 2 atomic bombs, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Like 80,000 people wiped out in an instant, tens of thousands of more die post bombing from radiation poisoning, from severe burns. It's just sick. You see the photos, you see everything in the museum, you hear the stories, and it's bad. So yeah, I mean, you feel bad, like we did this, and I'm not getting into the back and forth. There's no one to get the back and forth with right now. But I was asking Hiroshi about like why did Japan decide to poke the bear? I mean, in one way, it was great from the not great that people died at Pearl Harbor, but in one hand, it was great because it awoke a sleeping giant to industrialize. The industrial revolution was done, but to mobilize and just ramp up technology and ramp up building and infrastructure. And it worked in that way, but I don't know what they were thinking. He was telling me that of course the emperor made the final decision. I believe the emperor made the decision, but he was saying that one of the main generals to the emperor was like, no, I don't think this is a good idea. He ends up signing off on it anyway, but he didn't like it. So yeah. Anyway, so in Hiroshima, one of the buildings he took me to was like the fuel depot or something. And there were, I believe, 38 people there working on the morning of August 6th. And this one gentleman usually gets this paperwork put on his desk by his boss, but he realized that his boss forgot to do it. And he thought he was going to ask his boss to do it, or maybe even send someone else down to the basement to go find the paperwork that he needed. So he goes into the basement. He's having trouble finding it. He goes deeper into the basement, and 8:15 a.m., boom. He hears this noise. He feels pain, blood from his face. He's in the basement. 37 other workers are upstairs, and he was 130 meters from the hyper center, they call it, not ground zero. Well, ground zero, but it's like hypo center is what they had written. He was like 130 meters across the street from where the bomb exploded. Now, the bomb exploded 600 meters up, I believe is what they said, and only 130 meters from the hypo center. And he survived and got out of the rubble and found his way, just walked and got to a different place and didn't go into the river, which is where a lot of people died in the river. But he was the only one that survived. Everybody else was obliterated, and just about everybody else in that area, within a 5-kilometer radius. I asked that. Wow, my brain does show pictures, because I just saw the picture that my tour guide showed me. Really good tour guide. I liked him a lot. And if you're going to Hiroshima, I can give you his information. He's funny. He's funny because he's like, to be honest with you, I'm a new tour guide. I've only been doing it for a year, but he's 70. He's had multiple careers. His family owns a souvenir shop. He's like, in my 20s, I did this. In my 30s, I went for this. In my 40s, I just started to run Ironmans. In my 50s, I did this. And now he's like, I really love this tour guide stuff. I just dive into it and learn. And that's really cool. He's just constantly reinventing. And I think the longevity is absolutely going to be there. I mean, he's just in great shape. But yeah, 5 kilometers was the diameter of the blast zone. Obviously, the radiation and everything else went further, but it was fascinating to do that. We also walked past the building that remains that has that dome that you see in all the photos that right after the bomb was dropped. That this building survived, not fully intact at all. It survived mostly because of where the direction of the bombing was. The shockwave, the buildings that still stood were buildings that were reinforced concrete. And so there was a better chance that the buildings would survive, but people just didn't. People didn't. So that, anyway, you go through Hiroshima, there's the parks, there's the memorials. There were a ton of students coming through for their class trip, I guess. But they are very kind. They say, thank you very much. Arigato masaimasu. I don't know what it is. I haven't learned it, even though it's like, thank you very much. But they care, and they take care of each other, and they seem to be nice to each other, which is a lot different than what we have back home. tomorrow. So I'm in Osaka. I really didn't know what to do today, but I was really beat. Tomorrow I have a tour guide again, personal tour guide. We'll be going all over Osaka. And I saw a baseball stadium and realized that the Tigers, Lions, Hanisha, I don't know what they're called. I was at Shake Shack. And right next, attached to the Shake Shack, was a fan store, the official store for the. All right, I'll look it up. What are they called? Because I got tickets for the game. Let's see. My tickets, Viago. Your tickets are ready. Ticket for the Hanshin Tigers versus the Chonichi Dragons. Now coming to bat for the Choniki. Oh, let's look up the Choniki Dragons. We're going to look up their roster. Choniki Dragons roster. You know, I figured there was a baseball game going on. I should, if I can go, it would be really good to go. Don't you think? I think it would be good to go. So I bought a ticket. It was like $44. It cost me $59. It was $15 extra for the fee, but whatever. It's on the way when I go back to Tokyo tomorrow. But crazy thing is I have to leave my luggage at the train stations in a locker, and I'm told it's safe. I'll keep my passport. I guess I'm leaving my camera because I don't want to be turned away. What's funny is my tour guide said that a friend of the family used to be the manager of the team here in Osaka, and I asked if I could get a photo pass, and she goes, "It's a little late." She said something like, "It's a little disrespectful to ask at such a late date." And I was like, "My middle name is disrespectful, okay? Middle name is disrespectful." She knows that's a joke, I think. So she asked, but I bought a ticket anyway because I just want to experience the baseball there and do that. Okay. The Chonichi Dragons. We've got active players. We've got number 11, the pitcher, Okada Toshiya. Number 17, the pitcher for the Chonichi Dragons, Yanagi Yuya. Okay, a couple more because these are good. Number 20, pitcher, Wakui Hideki. I just like Hashimoto Yuki. Takahashi Hiroto. Man, I could do this all day. Kusaka Sho. Really good names. I think this is like their history. I don't know. That's a lot of pitchers. But they do have a catcher named Miya Tasai. Kota Takuma. See, I could be an announcer tomorrow. Maybe I'll go knock on the door. I'll be like, "Konnichiwa, Jared-san. I'm Jared-san. I'm here to announce the Konnichiwa Dragons game against the Hanshi Tigers, who lead the division." Or something like that. Is it called the Hananchi Tigers? Hananchi... Oh, there it is. The Hanshin Tigers. Way to get it wrong, Jared. Hanshin Tigers are a Nippon professional baseball team playing in the Central League. The team is based in Nishiyomiya, Hidago Prefecture, Japan. Next to their main stadium, Hanshin Konshin Stadium. The Tigers are owned by Hanshin Electric Railway Company Limited, a subsidiary of Hankyu Hanshin Holdings, Inc. And then their stadium is Hanshin Koshin Stadium. Let's see what the capacity of that is. Wow, capacity is 47,359. It opened in August 1st of 1924. Its coordinates are 34 degrees, 43 degrees longitude, 70 degrees north, 135 degrees, 2142 east. I don't know what any of that shit means. Anyway, the Konshin, oh, that's the stadium. It looks really, what's so cool about it is it's like a bowl. Like, it looks like a minor league stadium from the back, but then it's like they built all the way around it and it's a bowl. So that's super cool. Oh shit. Left field is 95 meters or 312 feet. Holy shit. Kyle Schwarber would hit so many home runs. It's even around the field. It's 95 meters, 312 feet to left field. Right field is 95 feet, 312. Right center field is 387 feet. Left center is 387. And center field is 387. That's a power driving place. That's funny. It says Babe Ruth played an exhibition game there in Koshin on his Japan tour in 1934. There's a plaque at the stadium commemorating it. That's pretty cool. I wanted to know more about the Hanshin Tigers. I'm going down a rabbit hole, guys. Rabbit hole here. The Hanshin Tigers. I already read that. The Tigers are owned. I read that. The Hanshin Tigers are one of the oldest professional clubs in Japan. They played their first season in 1936 as the Osaka Tigers and assumed their current name in 1961. The Hanshin Tigers, the second oldest professional club in Japan, were founded on December 10th, 1935, with the team being formed in 1936. The team was first called Osaka Tigers. In 1940, amid anti-foreign sentiment and the Tojo government's ban on English nicknames, the Tigers changed the name to simply Hanshin. In 1947, the team reverted to Osaka Tigers after the JPBL permitted use of English nicknames, like Dickface. Oh wait, that doesn't say that. The current team name, we already did that. The Tigers won 4 titles before the establishment of the 2-league system. In 1950, since the league was split into the Central League and Pacific League, the Tigers have won the Central League pennant 7 times. 1962, 64, 85, 2003, 2005. I wonder how if they're any good this year. I don't know, guys. I think I've had enough of talking, and I want to go to sleep. But let me see. A couple of other notes. I guess I was talking about some of the craftspeople I photographed. So I did the dyer, and then I went to a place called Bison Pottery Town. It's way off the beaten path. I mean, like the middle of nowhere. So I guess it was kind of cool to see the middle of nowhere. I got to make some pottery, but also photograph the potter, the potter person, and I bought some pottery as well. I bought a sake set, and I bought my dad, he doesn't know this yet, a vase for one of his flowers. So that should be pretty cool. And I got a bunch of other gifts for other people, but I will let them see those gifts for the first time when I tell them about it. I also got to photograph an 88-year-old woman yesterday who did like ceramic toys, and she was painting them and everything. And I used the 10mm lens through a window. It's going to look really cool. I got to post it for you guys to check out, but really happy with that photo. Getting to get some artisan work. I need people. There's only so many shrines I can photograph, but when there's some people to photograph, I'm down with the sickness. So I'm a big fan of doing that. I don't want to talk about Sony Alpha rumors, A7 V. I don't want to talk about the R7 II rumors from Canon. That stuff's in Photo News Fix. I know it's not super extensive there, but I will be hopefully home, knock on wood, come the weekend. I fly out of here on Saturday and I land on Saturday at around the same time. I think I'd leave at this one time. Oh, well, I won't get home. It would be 12 hours if it was direct, but I have to fly through Dallas, Fort Worth for American to then hopefully catch my flight, because it's only like an hour and 30-minute layover. So hopefully I'm flying Japan Airways home, which I hear is really nice. It's an A350 Airbus, so I'm excited for that first class. I did get the travel agent people to look into the meal, because if they're serving I'm kind of tired of Japanese food right now. I mean, if you would give me salmon and rice, I'd be really fucking happy, and vegetables, but it's not always that. It's not always that. But I'm looking forward to that JPL flight, Japan Airways, and I'm looking forward to getting home, get into my routine of working out with my trainer, and then get upset that I have nothing to do and I was just in Japan. But then the same thing, I know how I am when I travel. I've been pretty good traveling on my own here, understanding, staying in it. Honestly, I was ready to go home when Steven went home, but I already made, the plans for the trip and paid for everything. And so I obviously want to do it. There's things I want to do, but it's like you need a break. But I wish the break was at home and then I could come back and pick up where I left off. But that's not how it is. So anyway, the moral of the story is when I get home next week, Steven and I will probably do a RAWtalk together again. But what's insane is that the end of the year is already coming up. We're already in fucking October, basically. October, November, December. Well, that gives us 3 months. It's a quarter. That's not bad. All right, not bad. Whatever. I'm tired as fuck. Right now it's almost 11. It's 10:49. I'm not going to get up early to shoot tomorrow. My tour guide doesn't get here till 9:30. Then I have to check out of the hotel. Where am I going to put my bag then? Fuck, I don't know. I don't know what we're even doing tomorrow. Dundori, like the markets. There's nothing that I really want to do in Osaka. I know the World Fair thing. It's not a World Fair, but whatever it's called, Expo is here. Whatever, guys. I'm tired. I'm going to go to sleep. I hope you enjoyed this rambling, and I'll let you know how the baseball game goes next week if I remember. I did apply for a pass, so hopefully I get a pass. All right, that's episode 170, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Jared Polin, FronosPhoto.com. See ya.